Texting.
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 Texting. Texting. Texting. Texting.
Texting.
Texting.
Mark, Will, and Tomek present
Texting.
Hello, all you Textual Deviants, and welcome to another episode of Texting. I'm Mark Will Wright in Taipei.
And I'm the Feeler in St. Petersburg.
And joining us today is our special guest, Mr. GJ Villa. Welcome.
Pleasure to be here.
Glad to have you. Our topic
Absolutely.
today is the Textually Deviant Literary Battle Royale. Yes, it's another one of those tournaments you may have heard or seen or both. Our previous tournaments, one was on the 64 greatest musical artists of all time.
Won by the Beatles.
Yes, and the other was on foods, and that was won by Burrito, I'm told, or you reminded me of that. That was exciting. These things take a long time, usually 2 episodes. Buckle up. The 64 combatants are the 64 greatest writers as determined by the 3 members of our panel. Each member submitted a list of 21, and if you know your math, that equals 63 when you add those together, and 64 was Billy Shakes, a.k.a. William Shakespeare. So Mr. Villa provided the first list of 21, then I provided the second list, and then the Feeler rounded it out with his 21, and as I say, Shakespeare was at the end, number 64.
Let me
So
ask
that's
a
how we...
quick question.
Yeah.
Why is the Feeler the Feeler?
Well, it's because stacked up against 2 intellectual heavyweights like yourself, GJ, and Mark Will Wright, I feel like what I uniquely bring is my ability to emotionally connect with texts. I don't think I
That's
can...
fantastic. That's what I thought. I thought it was something about intuition and so on. I like to think
Yeah.
that I have some intuition myself, but we'll see. This is,
100%.
what I liked about this whole thing was just choose your favorite 21. There's no criteria. All your biases, fine, just chuck them in there and let's just see what happens.
Absolutely. And another footnote to our list is if it's on GJ's list, it may very well have been on mine. Same for Mark's. So we did go in an order. So GJ picked the first 21. So in some way, maybe he was compelled to pick some of the big dogs or big dogettes, which we would have obviously chosen. So in some way, I had a bit more freedom because so many literary giants were already selected when it came to me.
That's true, yeah.
But I think it's not really about...
briefly,
Please.
that, after I submitted my 21, and it was, harder than I thought it would be to winnow it down. I realized after I submitted, wait, what about Roberto Calasso? How could I have overlooked him? And so, of course, got in touch with Mark Will, and he's like, yeah, I got you. He's on my list. There was an overlap, right?
And before Villa submitted his list, I said, I predict, about 50% of your 21 would be on my original list of 21 if I had chosen first, right? And that proved to be pretty much the case. It was like 9 or 10 on his list that definitely would have been would have made the cut in my, initial list of 21. But so there was overlap, yeah. But then after he chose his 21, I came up with my 21, and then as the Feeler mentioned, he had to do some digging. And, I think one of the most interesting parts of this broadcast will be discussing those who were left off, and why. How come certain people didn't make the cut, whereas others did? So that'll be an interesting part of this discussion, I believe.
Yeah, we've got writers missing who many critics would vociferously argue as being the greatest, let alone belonging in the top 64.
Sure. And some that, people may wonder, how did he or she get on the list? So that'll be part of the conversation, which I think we should jump into
Yeah.
forthwith.
We are three flawed but devoted readers doing humbly the best that we goddamn can.
Yes, sir. All right, so we're going to introduce our 64 writers, beginning with, we're going alphabetically, Sherman Alexie, breaking out, by the way, the text that follows is provided by ChatGPT. ChatGPT.
Our service.
Yes, sir. Breaking out with the Lone Ranger.
With the WWF prompt, right?
That's right, yeah. And, and I'm finally tuning those prompts and adjusting the language to my liking. So, it's very much a collaborative process between me and the AI.
Mm-hmm. Whatever helps you sleep at night.
Thank you. All right. For the third time, here we go. Sherman Alexie in the first A to Z position, breaking out with the Lone Ranger and Tonto fistfight in heaven. Alexie fused poetry, prose, and humor to capture native life in modern America. Armed with satire and storytelling, he enters wielding both grief and punchlines.
It looks great, by the way. Everything fits nicely.
I was told that we read our selection, so whoever's reading that is the one we
That's
chose. Paul
you.
Auster, postmodern magician of coincidence. Auster steps in with the New York trilogy, a meta-detective puzzle where language itself commits the crime. Cool, cryptic, and cigarette slick.
He steps in. That doesn't sound very intimidating, does it? This is me, Charles Baudelaire. From the gutters of Paris rises the decadent dandy with Les Fleurs du Mal, poems dripping with beauty, sin, and ennui. The original goth, perfume of rot on his lapel.
What is a French writer without his ennui?
Absolutely.
Nothing. This is me too, Samuel Beckett, minimalist monk of despair. Beckett carries Waiting for Godot like a void in his pocket. Okay. Words are weapons. Silence, his kill shot. Nothing happens twice. Bitch!
I don't get that reference.
Nothing happens twice. There's repetition.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right.
Oh.
Next up, Andre
Whose is
Benjamin, better known as Andre Three Stacks. He rhymed his way into literary territory with Outkast's Aquemini and The Love Below. A modern wordsmith, he joins the fight with rhythm, style, and audacious originality.
This is me, Thomas Bernhardt. Ooh, the font's really small. Austria's great malcontent, Bernhardt turns bitterness into brilliance. In Woodcutters and Correction, his spiraling prose ridicules hypocrisy, mediocrity, and existence itself with furious precision and dark, unrelenting humor. Is this me? This is me, I think.
Okay.
William Blake, poet, painter, visionary. His songs of innocence and of experience summon angels, devils, and lambs alike. Blake steps in, a lot of stepping in. Blake steps in as prophet of imagination, where every verse cuts as fiercely as his engraved flames. Yeah. Blake would have been on your list too, right, Feeler?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Roberto Bolaño, Chilean novelist, poet, literary alchemist of 2666 and Savage Detectives. His sprawling narratives mix mystery, horror, and literary obsession. He enters the arena with labyrinthine strategy, ready to confound rivals with sheer scope.
Was he on your list?
Yes, he was on my list.
Nice. I definitely would have been on mine.
He was on your first draft, but before we did this, we did it this way with the split of 3. The Feeler and I each did 32, right?
Yeah.
And he was on your.
Absolutely.
And he was on mine too, but anyway.
I'll be going
all right, keep going. This is me. Jorge Luis Borges, Argentine master of labyrinths and mirrors, author of Ficciones and Labyrinths. His paradoxes bend time and reality. Borges steps lightly but lethally, showing that a single line can upend the rules of the battle. Okay.
That's William S. Burroughs.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
His name is...
The font was in white.
His name is gone. Mark. Yeah, that's me. Beat era outlaw of language, inventor of the cut-up, naked lunch, in tow. There's a lot of in tow in this phrasing, too. Burroughs shoots his words like bullets, subverting narrative and order. He steps in chaotic, unpredictable, and undeniably dangerous.
Dean, that's a reference to the accidental murder.
Well,
The words like bullets.
and well,
Among other
and
things,
his
junky lifestyle.
his obsession and fascination
right.
with the old man of the mountain, the original assassin. Okay, this is me again. I have a lot of entries near the beginning of the alphabet, I guess. Roberto Calasso, Italian literary scholar and mythographer, author of The Marriage of Cadmus and Harmony, which, of course, inspired my publishing imprint, Cadmus and Harmony Media. He weaves myths and history into intellectual duels. Colosso enters quietly, but with deadly precision. Every sentence a strategic strike. He'll kick your ass.
By the way, can you guys see me?
Yep,
Okay.
Okay, cool. All right.
that's
The
the feeler.
me?
I think so.
Okay. Albert Camus, the cool executioner of absurdism. The stranger in one hand, a cigarette in the other, Camus stares death in the face and refuses to blink.
All these tough guys.
And Sean Carter,
Wait, that's
architect
mine.
of
Oh,
architect of flow. From Reasonable Doubt to 444, Jay-Z bends language into rhythm and code, slang, double meanings, and confession shaping a lifetime in verse. Listeners, if you hear snickers, they're not coming from me.
That's me, J.M. Coetzee. A South African ice blade of morality, Coetzee brings disgrace to the ring. Stoic, precise, merciless, his language flays both colonizer and conscience.
he was on my original list of 32.
Next up, we have Roald Dahl. Twisted storyteller with a wicked grin. From Matilda to the Witches, his tales blend dark humor, clever children, and deliciously cruel comeuppance. Every story a candy-coated punch to the unsuspecting.
Come up and
Don DeLillo, apostle of the American void. DeLillo fires white noise into the crowd, consumers of death, static. He fights with irony, speaks in signals, and bleeds television.
Dante Alighieri, exiled Florentine poet with divine ambition. The Divine Comedy is his flaming sword, slicing sin, mapping heaven and hell, judging us all.
Fyodor Dostoevsky, Russian
Good pronunciation. Thank you.
Dostoevsky.
Really, I appreciate
Russian
that.
master of faith, conscience, and guilt. The brothers Karamazov wrestles with sin, redemption, and the human soul, confronting morality head-on and exploring the depths of God's suffering and human responsibility. Quick question for the feeler who lives in Russia. Karamazov? How would you pronounce that?
Karamazov.
Karamazov.
Yeah, and brothers be Bratya Karamazov. Yeah.
I love it. All right.
Euripides, ancient Greek dramatist with a grudge against gods. Medea is his weapon, pure vengeance, dripping in blood and reason. Even Zeus flinches.
Damn. William Faulkner, Southern labyrinth maker with The Sound and the Fury. Sentences longer than lifetimes, voices colliding. He turns chaos into literature's slow drawl. Not sure about
He
that.
would have been on my list.
Elena Ferrante, masked Neapolitan sniper. My brilliant friend explodes with female rage, intellect, and loyalty. She bites from the shadows, her anonymity sharper than any pen. We should say we have no idea whether that image is of the actual Ferrante or not. She is still, unknown.
Seriously?
I've read volume 1.
Yeah, I love the whole quartet. In fact, I'm listening in audiobooks. Gabriel Garcia Marquez, the magician of Bacondo, 100 years of solitude, blooms in his hands. Banana Republics and ghosts tango under tropical rain.
He would have been on my list too.
Allen Ginsberg, the bearded prophet of Howl. He rages against Moloch, capitalism, and repression with ecstatic fury. Naked honesty as his only armor.
By the way, the feeler, you did a fantastic reading of not which Ginsberg did you read? I think it was the prayer one.
We read Footnote to Howl.
Yeah, maybe that was it. I remember you reading some Ginsberg. Anyway,
Yeah.
continue.
Cheers, mate. Cheers, mate. Nikolai Gogol, Imperial Russia's trickster. Dead souls in tow. He mocks bureaucracy and madness in equal measure. Laughter with frostbite.
There's in tow again, so we have to imagine these guys with their books. It's like, come on, bitch, fight me. I got the Sound and the Fury right here. Psh, psh. This is
Apologies
me.
for this is not particularly legible. I'll help you out if you need it, okay?
All right. This is Ernest Hemingway, boxer of brevity and master of understatement. From A Farewell to arms, to for whom the bell tolls, he delivers sentences like uppercuts, stripped down, precise, and loaded with quiet violence. Bitch!
And a friend of the show, Greg, has specifically requested that Hemingway lose as early as possible.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm kind of with
Greg.
him actually.
Great.
I don't know why. I'm not
GJ.
invested like that.
I
I'm
mean,
just
in
saying.
terms of even the 64 greatest, I don't think he belongs. But hey, that's what we're going to talk about.
Yeah, we'll get into
Oh
that.
my goodness. Who am I
Alright.
talking to?
You'll make your case. You'll make your case.
All right, let's go. This is me, Herodotus, the father of history and gossip. He's in hand. He spins war, myth, and rumor into the world's first epic documentary.
This is me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hermann Hesse, seeker of souls and modern mystic. Narcissus and Goldmund and Siddhartha blaze with spiritual quest and artistic tension. Hesse journeys through intellect, instinct, and inner conflict, guiding readers toward self-discovery and the soul's wild pulse.
Homer, the original bard of blood and longing.
Ooh.
With the Iliad and the Odyssey, he forged the blueprint for epic storytelling, God's grief and glory sung in lines that still thunder through time.
Michel Houellebecq, France's dirtiest realist submission, clenches his nihilist jaw. Sex, politics, despair. His blows are cynical, brilliant, and leave bruises on modern.
Zora Neale Hurston, anthropologist of the human spirit. Their eyes were watching God sings, shouts, and struts, her voice a storm of wit, rhythm, and independence.
James Joyce, linguistic berserker of Ulysses, stream of consciousness, more like flood of chaos. Every sentence a haymaker, every pun a precision strike. Dublin's mad son fights in syntax.
Obviously,
Franz
he would have been
Kafka,
on my list.
the bureaucrat of dread. The metamorphosis is his battle cry. Wake up, a bug, die, a man. His weapon, the logic of nightmares.
Jack Kerouac, beat-era wanderer and jazz-fueled prophet. On the road and the Dharma bums blaze with restless energy, spontaneous prose, and spiritual quest. Kerouac runs through landscapes and consciousness alike, chasing freedom and insight at every step of the
Look
way.
at that all-American portrait of him, too.
Yeah.
He was a kind of all-American boy initially, at least, so.
Absolutely.
How did that get cut off? It just didn't fit.
I just didn't edit it, yeah.
Okay. All right. Lao Tzu, ancient master of Tao Te Ching, his attack yielding, his defense water. He fights by not fighting and somehow always wins. D.H. Lawrence, every sentence smolders with erotic and spiritual rebellion. Lady Chatterley's lover and Sons and Lovers made English prose sweat.
Oof. Richard Linklater, cinema's philosopher of time. With Boyhood, Waking Life, and the Before trilogy, he turns film into lived thought. His dialogue fights entropy, one conversation at a time.
Mario Vargas Llosa, Peruvian titan of political realism. The Feast of the Goat drips with power, lust, and dictatorship. He writes with a rhythm of revolt. Look at that.
That
wise
code
motherfucker.
is fantastic.
Cormac McCarthy, apocalyptic gunslinger of prose. Blood Meridian is his weapon. Biblical violence, dust, and destiny. No quotation marks. No mercy. Is this a podcast with three guys who chose all their favorites? Obviously, it fucking is.
This is me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Yes,
Okay,
I think so.
Arthur
Yeah.
Miller, America's conscience with a pen. From Death of a Salesman to The Crucible, he stripped the nation's dreams bare and showed the price of believing in Jesus. Sorry.
This is me, Yukio Mishima, warrior poet of beauty and death. The temple of the Golden Pavilion gleams with obsession. He fights for aesthetic perfection. Blade first, pen second.
Toni Morrison, with sentences that rise and fall like music, Morrison fuses myth, memory, and lyrical mastery in Beloved and Song of Solomon, crafting prose that resonates with rhythm, depth, and emotional power.
Alice Munro, master of the miniature epic. Runaway and Dear Life turns small-town moments into quiet detonations. She kills softly, precision, or spectacle.
Murakami Haruki, dream pop surrealist. In IQ 84 and Kafka on the Shore, he blends jazz, cats, and alternate realities, creating prose that flows like a long, mesmerizing midnight run.
Viet Thanh Nguyen, the spy of split identities. The sympathizer detonates the Vietnam War from both sides, sharp, funny, and politically explosive.
George Orwell, the watchman of truth and tyranny. Orwell wields 1984 and Animal Farm like scalpel and warning. His prose exposes lies, fear, and oppression with clarity so cold it slices across generations.
He has a cigarette too. They mentioned, Oster's Siggy, so why not Orwell's?
Camus probably.
All right, here's
Well,
Ovid.
it's not interpreting my photos, Just saying.
Ovid, Rome's shapeshifter poet, metamorphoses in hand. He turns myth to mirror, love and power dancing through endless transformation. Even gods envy his rhythm. Okay.
Edgar Allan Poe. I have a cherry in my mouth, pardon me. Master of the macabre and architect of dread. In The Telltale Heart, The Raven, and Annabel Lee, he fuses obsession, grief, and dark lyricism. Each heartbeat and rhyme pulling the reader deeper into shadow. Shout out to Ryan for this.
I think it's Allan.
Oh, I think you're right.
But
is this mine?
this is me.
Okay.
Marcel Proust, master of memory and minute detail. À la recherche du temps perdu. Turns recollection into art. Tracing desire. This is really small font.
Sorry.
Regret and fleeting moments with exquisite precision and emotional depth.
Philip Roth, provocateur of identity and libido. Portnoy's complaint swings wild, guilt, lust, and brilliance colliding in every line. America blushed, Roth grinned.
And I just, really quick side note. So I asked GPT to, include the greatest work that they've written, but because I didn't consult with you, it was kind of picking the stereotypical.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know if you may not have chosen Portnoy, for
Sabbath
example.
theater for me, but
yeah.
Right. So apologies for that. But then again, you guys
fine.
could have gone
that's
in
his
and
most
edited.
notoriously known, right? So it
Okay.
was culturally a landmark, so.
Sure. J.D. Salinger, chronicler of adolescence and alienation. Salinger's The Catcher in the Rye captures teenage rebellion, vulnerability, and wit, crafting a voice that resonates with honesty and enduring impact.
W.G. Sebald. Or was that yours, Mark?
Actually, I don't remember. He would have been on
He
my
would have been on one
list.
of our lists. So, melancholic archivist of memory, Austerlitz drifts through ruins, photos, ghosts, and the quiet devastation of remembering too much.
This is mine. Arthur Schopenhauer, the grumpy philosopher of despair. Boy, that's a terrible
He doesn't look too,
introduction. He's grumpy.
he looks grumpy.
The world as will and representation crushes optimism under metaphysical heel. The man-made pessimism cool centuries before Goss.
You need some reading glasses, brother.
Well, you can read that tiny font.
With these glasses, I can.
Okay.
Ooh. Elif Shafak, polyglot storyteller of Istanbul's heart. The 40 Rules of Love spins Sufism, feminism, and rebellion. Her words dance between East and West, tradition and transgression. Mark, you can take this.
There he is, Billy Shakes.
Billy Shakes, the bard, playwright, poet, prankster of kings and clowns alike, from the thunder of Hamlet to the swoon of Romeo and Juliet to the dreamscapes of A Midsummer Night's Dream and the wordplay of the sonnets. He didn't just write in every register, he invented them.
If you have to use thunder, I would use that with King Lear for obvious reasons. But anyway.
Yeah, this is mine. Solomon, the sage king, author of Ecclesiastes, Proverbs, and Song of Songs. His wisdom cuts sharper than swords. Vanity, love, and mortality tangled in divine rhetoric.
Rebecca Solnit, essayist of resistance and wonder, and explains things to me, arms her with wit and moral fire. She fights patriarchy and apathy, sentence by luminous sentence. She's so much more than that. We'll get into it.
Tacitus, or Tacitus, as his Latin name would be pronounced. Rome's forensic historian, annals in hand, there it is again, he records power's corruption with surgical disdain. No emotion, no mercy, just empire dissected on the page.
Damn.
Yeah,
Biatch!
they love any kind of like surgical imagery.
Yeah.
Mm.
A lot of combat
Anyway.
metaphors.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Hunter S. Thompson, the gonzo gunslinger, half journalist, half outlaw. With fear and loathing in Las Vegas, he fires truth and madness from the same barrel, shredding the line between reporting and rampage.
Was that overlay intentional?
No,
Okay.
thank you.
This is mine. Lev Tolstoy should be the feelers, but I picked him first. The pacifist titan of moral clarity. In War and Peace and Anna Karenina, he dissects. Ooh,
There you go.
he's dissecting. He's doing surgery. He dissects the human heart with surgical grace. No sword, no sermon, just true faith and the quiet agony of conscience.
Sue Townsend, chronicler of the awkward, the honest, and the hilariously mundane. Through the secret diary of Adrian Mole, she turns everyday embarrassment into art, her wit razor sharp, her social satire delightfully unmerciful. Irvin Welsh. He writes Edinburgh with grit and grime. In Trainspotting, Leith Scots and phonetically spelled dialect capture heroin, poverty, and violence. Sentences stumble, swear, and stagger. Messy, raw, and sexy.
Look at him all shirtless showing, it. Masculine at any age. Walt Whitman,
Absolutely.
America's ecstatic bard. Leaves of Grass is his heartbreak. Democratic, sensual, infinite. He wrestles the cosmos and kisses it mid-fight. Oscar Wilde, the patron saint of wit and transgression. From The Picture of Dorian Gray to De Profundis, he crafts razor-sharp epigrams, decadent worlds, and confessional depths. Beauty, scandal, and intellect entwined in every line.
And is that our... Nope, last
Virginia
one here.
Woolf, modernism's high priestess in Miss Dalloway and To the Lighthouse. She explores consciousness, time, and memory, mapping inner lives with nuance and grace, and capturing the rhythms and fractures of thought.
And that concludes our 64 contenders.
That's
Well
like
done,
almost an
gentlemen.
episode right there. Jesus.
Yeah, exactly. Mark, take over as host, bro.
All right, we got through 64 with these motherfuckers.
So now we go to the first bracket of 8. Tomek will spin the wheel and we'll find out who our first 8 contestants are. And I guess we're gonna continue through all 8 brackets, or do we want to?
No,
do...
we'll just do the wheel for the first 8, if that's okay.
Let's just see where we are. Let's go.
Okay.
I'm in combative mode now.
I need to share again, right?
Pen in hand, number 9.
So we're gonna
in tow.
I'm gonna spin this for the first 8.
All right.
Here we go.
Camus
I hope I
steps
copied
in the fucking
correctly.
room.
All right.
Oh, I got some sound effects too.
Ooh, Frenchman and a Peruvian.
All right. The second matchup.
That's an interesting one.
Ooh.
And it stops on William Blake.
You can say a couple words if you want, like as I go through this.
Sure.
You could like,
I said the first matchup is interesting. How's that?
Okay. Good.
William Blake.
Blake's gonna face.
Yeah, you guys gotta do like it's like a beauty pageant or
And
something.
it is. Is it Linklater? Where is that? Thomas Mann. I don't remember.
Wait a
reading
minute.
his slide.
What?
Oh shit! Fuck. Okay.
He's
So
in there. Fuck it. Let's go.
No. I fucked up. So Thomas Mann has to represent. You know what we have to do is like the 3. Basically, I did the wrong list in there. So we just have to substitute Mann with one of the 3 that I omitted. I think it's the 3 that we discussed.
What were the 3? I'll have to go back to our notes.
Do you remember those 3 that you told me I left out?
3 of mine, right?
Yeah, it was what? Homer was one of them.
Let me find it. Yeah, you knocked 3 of mine off the list. No, 2 of mine. Bernhardt and Homer.
All right, so who do you want to go up against Blake? You can choose.
That's really interesting. Let's do Bernhardt, Thomas Bernhardt against Blake. That should lead to an interesting conversation.
All right, we got coming into the ring. We have Toni Morrison.
Toni Morrison.
All right,
and she's matched up against.
All right, Viet Thanh Nguyen.
All
right, the last 2 for this first bracket?
For the first bracket, it is...
Zoriel Hurston.
I can't even see that. It's so small on my screen.
Zoriel Hurston, right there.
Yeah, I can't read that on the wheel. When it pops
When it
up
projects
big,
it?
I can see it. Yeah.
Okay.
What's this?
Ovid.
Ovid? Okay.
Ovid.
All right, here we go. So,
All right. So back to the bracket.
yeah, and you want me to type all this stuff in there now, yeah?
Well,
Sure.
Or we can just type it in later and just discuss. Up to you.
well,
Maybe we can just do that, yeah? And
all right, but I didn't write down the
I wrote
matchup,
everything
so-
down. Yeah,
okay,
I wrote
so-
everything down.
So,
So let me stop
uh,
sharing.
yeah, stop sharing the
Okay.
wheel. All right.
So our first matchup again is Albert Camus against Mario Vargas Llosa.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Pronunciation.
Okay.
This is very difficult. I'm gonna have to go with Camus with reservations. I mean, and I say that because I think for me, Camus has been more influential. And that's probably because I haven't read enough Vargas Llosa, although I've read, at least 5 of his books, I want to say.
That's a lot. I
But-
don't think I've read anything by him, bro.
I mean, 5 is enough to warrant, in your mind, if you think Camus is better, right? When you say
I mean,
Camus is better, like he's
it's
had more
not
influence.
better.
Do you mean
Yeah.
influence generally, or do you mean meaningful?
I'll
to
tell you what I mean. I mean, Camus' book, The Rebel, that collection of
Yeah, I've read it.
essays
It's
written
fantastic.
after the myth of Sisyphus.
It's better than the myth
I
of
mean,
Sisyphus.
Yes, exactly. I mean, I've probably read that book 10 times, and it's just, it's a very important book to me personally. And I read it at a time when I was developing as a reader and writer. So it's just, they're kind of idiosyncratic reasons for
So
picking
we're
Camus.
talking about like the impact on you, not what you think is sort of general influence.
That's the reason for my vote.
I mean,
Now, I did.
I think
I
those
did-
the way, that's the way to vote, right? I mean, who cares? right?
Okay, well, yeah, but then later, and that was early, right? Like there was the period of the French existentialists in my late teens, Sartre, Camus, and then I
Yeah.
kind of, went on to other things. But later, I came back to Camus, and it was partly due to the influence of our friend Maria, who, somewhat to my surprise, is a big Camus fan. This is Maria in H-Town, not Australian
Schettino.
Maria.
Schettino.
No, not Maria Schettino.
Ah, sorry. Okay, my bad.
All right, so Camus for you.
I vote Camus.
All right.
Yeah, but
I have
want,
no knowledge of Vargas Llosa. You can tell me
So-
something about him, and I apologize for that.
Well, yeah,
but-
make your case, GJ
Oh, go ahead.
Villa.
Okay, for me,
Make
Vargas
the
Llosa for
case.
sure. I mean, Camus, part of it is nostalgic, 16, 17, late teens, reading The Existentialists, like how many other millions of young men who read, right?
You mean The Stranger?
Yeah, The Stranger and so on. Right, The Stranger. But, honestly, I think The Fall is the gem of the literary novellas that he wrote. And definitely, Myth of Sisyphus at that age was just a way to grapple with the seeming meaninglessness of the world and so on. But The Rebel, when I got older, of course, politically, that's a hugely important book. But, end of the day, for me, in terms of storytelling prowess, Mario Vargas Llosa can do it all. And so The Feast of the Goat, I'll just make this pitch to read it if you haven't. And if you haven't,
Yeah.
feeler, right? Start with The Feast of the Ghost. It's about the assassination of Trujillo, and you get the perspective of all the men who assassinated him. It's like a mafia hit building up. You get a depiction of the corrupt dictator. But then there's parallel narratives that's going on, the sort of narrative of the past. In the present is a young woman, Urania, who grew up in the upper echelons in the Dominican Republic. And her father was embroiled politically with the dictator, the goat. It is just a symphonic book. Totally, in terms of storytelling powers, it is superlative. Plus, he has other books that are almost just as good too. So he is War of the Underworld.
This is my favorite of
That's
his
an
that
epic.
I've read.
A lot of people say that's his greatest, right? In terms of historical fiction, yes, that's amazing. Late 19th century, Christian
what
revolution.
nationality is he? Sorry,
He's a Peruvian.
Peruvian. Cool.
And then there's this, which I haven't read yet.
That
but
was a
it's
little
been
bit of
on my
disappointment.
shelf.
I was excited about that. That was not, in my opinion, didn't feel as organically done as the others.
The Dream
anyway.
of the Celt is what we're looking at for those watching.
Yeah, Vargas Llosa for me. With Camus, I acknowledge his importance, certainly.
You are almost persuading me to change my vote. But
well, for me, I also will say that for me, usually storytellers and novelists are going to edge out Camus' contributions to political thought and philosophy. But that's just a personal preference, right? So
yeah. Well, all right, let's think of some other works of his. There's Aunt Julia and the Scriptwriter.
That's a good comic novel.
In Praise of the Stepmother.
No, one of his best, which you haven't read, I don't think, is the Bad Girl, which you have to read. It is a brilliant comic novel about this man recollecting growing up, kind of a coming of age novel in Peru, and he meets this girl who he ends up running into internationally after he moves to Paris and so on, and is he's in love with her basically in all of her incarnations, and she has like several incarnations. She sort of remakes herself over and over again. It is a fantastic book, so I would say read that. You'll love it.
If I think of it that way, like, how many, if it's like quantity, right, then Vargas Llosa has to win out, because with Camus, we're talking about 3 great books,
I mean,
maybe?
The Stranger is undeniably important, right? I love The Fall, The Myth of Sisyphus.
I love The Fall.
The Rebel. I'm trying to think if I've read anything else.
The Plague?
The Plague.
The Plague, of course, The Plague, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is really, really difficult. Maybe I'll just follow the principle of first thought, best thought.
Yeah.
My inclination was Camus, so we'll go with that. But there are going to be many of these really difficult choices. So you're Camus, obviously, since you picked him, right?
Yeah. Read The Stranger in high school and affected me profoundly in my spiritual growth or lack of, perhaps.
Yeah.
And then I went on to read some other novels, including The Fall and The Plague and some of the essays.
Right.
Yeah, so just an exciting writer for me.
And see, that's another thing. It's like, at what stage of one's reading life do we evaluate the importance of a writer, Like, if you ask me right now, I'd be more interested in reading more Vargas Llosa than Camus, right? Than going back and revisiting Camus, right?
Some things are so important for you at a certain age, as you're saying, right? I mean, Camus was that for me. So was, I'm glad you included Hermann Hesse, because that was another one. I think that's ideal for like a 16, 17, 18, and you read Siddhartha, and then for me, Steppenwolf. I mean, those are books that were transformative.
Narcissus and Goldmund is my.
I haven't read that.
My
I've
gem.
heard good things, but those were transformative for my imagination. I've never read anything like that.
Absolutely. Let's save that.
So it's Camus. Sadly, we've been Vargas Llosa. We have to make our decisions. Camus goes on. I'm fine with that. Camus was also. I love his humanism, and his commitment to atheism without being a proselytizer for that. Right. So. Hugely important.
What's the famous line? Mother died today?
My mom died today. Mother died today. Yeah.
Maman,
Rousseau and his,
Rousseau, yes. Do you guys have any other quotables off the top of your head from Camus?
I mean, there's so many. There's so many from The Rebel. There are crimes of passion and there are crimes of logic, and these are not the same, right? Like he says,
it's kind of a Raskolnikov vibe, right?
Oh, well, Dostoevsky was a huge influence, and there's I think significant sections of the Rebel that talk about Ivan in particular, Karamazov. But the idea is that, he says like Heathcliff would kill anyone for Catherine's sake, but he wouldn't try to justify it rationally.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? So a crime of passion, that can be forgiven, but a crime of logic, that's like the mortal sin.
That's cold. The cold. I mean, Dante's inner circle, they're the ones who corrupted the intellect, right, and sinned willfully, and so on, right? The traitors, right, etc. Right. So Dante thought similarly, right? The crimes of passion were carnal passions, right? In that sort of Christian scheme of the body as animal, right? but crimes of the mind and the intellect were an affront to God because he gave us the power of reason, and to corrupt it in a diabolical fashion to hurt our fellow man, right, was the worst sin.
Yeah, there may be some latent or I don't know, a residue of Catholicism in Camus' existentialism.
I always liked his Algerian connection too. I mean, I don't know, was he was
He was a
would he
Pied
be
Noir,
considered
I believe.
Pardon?
Wasn't he born into a Pied Noir family? Like he was born in Algeria, right? When French
Yeah.
family.
I don't know how do Algerians, like native Algerians, look at him. Like, does he have like a
good
more of a
question.
colonial feel, or was he like?
Well, he was criticized by Sartre for not being revolutionary enough, and there was a great debate between those men, right? And Sartre was basically, I mean, they were also Sartre kind of jousting for top French intellectual, and you're not revolutionary enough. So I like that from what I've read, right? And I've been, the little bit I've read, I'm definitely Camus biased, right, in terms of his more put the brakes on things and being a little bit more moderate, right, when it came to some of those questions about revolution.
That's an interesting.
The colonized.
That's an interesting aspect of this too. It's like the Hemingway Faulkner dynamic. You can't really discuss one without the other, and that's definitely true of Sartre and Camus, right? And I've gone back and forth. Like I recently read Camus' autobiography, The Words. That's something I never read when I read, like Nausea and Parts of Being and Nothingness and all that.
Wait, are you saying you read Sartre's autobiography on Words?
Yes.
You said Camus.
Recently.
You said Camus.
Oh, I did?
I think. So
yeah,
Sartre's,
but it's all good.
It doesn't matter. You read Sartre's autobiography.
Yes, The Words.
And
I'm saying, like, well, I did that recently, right? Like, I don't know when it was, a couple years ago, I just thought I should revisit Sartre, whom I hadn't really thought about or read, for 20 years. So again, that's just another example of the stages along the way, stages on life's way. Right?
Well, Camus wins. We should probably get to the next one before we.
Yeah.
Camus.
All right. So next up, despite the little issue with the wheel, we've got William Blake and Thomas Bernhardt.
Bernhardt.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
And again, we've got like an early influence and then a more recent obsession, Like now, I don't want to go back and read. I can't say I wouldn't at all, but I'm not like, eager to reread Blake. I read the complete works, like, 1,000 pages of Blake. I did that, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, and I don't want to go back to it. Whereas, I want to read all of Bernhardt. I've read a good number of his books, but there's still a few that I haven't gotten to. So at this particular time, oh man, I'm going to go Bernhardt.
All right.
For me, it's Blake because I'm pretty ignorant on Bernhardt, and Blake is incredible and like just so talented with the plates and is that the official word for them? The etchings, the plates.
Yes.
Did a course on Blake in my MA, and I think it really deepened my appreciation for the visual aspects. So my professor was always saying you can't read this without seeing at the same time. And I appreciate his kind of willingness to reshape how we think of maybe traditional spirituality, and he's just obviously like so eccentric and mad that there is genius there. I mean,
a
I
true
think that's
visionary for sure, who basically created his own cosmological system, right? I mean, his own poetic universe. Blakean, right?
Yes.
We have an adjective.
Well, he actually said I had to create my own system so as not to be enslaved by another man's.
Yeah. I can't say I've read as much Blake as both of you. I've read, of course. I mean, I've studied romantic poetry at some point. I've read some Blake on my own, but I don't have the exhaustive knowledge that probably you two have. But I mean, some of those songs of innocence and experience are just timeless, delightful. Some of the songs of innocence are just so beautiful. So the simplicity of the language that's also so kind of elegant and soothing and so on. And then some of the insights from experience, amazing. But all that said, maybe it's a bias towards novelists. Maybe it's more recency bias as well. I've not read as much Bernhardt, I don't think, as you, Mark, but I have read 4 of his books, 3 or 4. And those long single paragraph books of screeds and madness and obsession and torrent, I have to go with Bernhardt.
All right.
I tell you why Bernhardt gets the nod for me. When I read the complete works of Blake, I was put off by how Christological his vision was, and that's something you don't realize when you're reading just the anthologized works, Marriage of Heaven and Hell, and all that, right? All religions are one. It sounds more it sounds almost, Buddhist or Sufist or whatever. And a lot of Japanese Buddhists are interested in Blake, actually. But when you read the whole thing, the complete works, you see the centrality of the Christological Messiah figure, and I found that off-putting. I mean, I still love Blake. Like,
I mean, the whole Urizen character as well, right? Is interesting. I hope I'm remembering that correctly, but he's the guy who's measuring?
Well, Urizen is literally your reason, right? It's what he elsewhere calls the ratio or the ratio, the rational mind, Yeah, but what I'm saying is that part I like, the mythological Blake, the 4 Zoas and so on. But there's also kind of, besides the 4, and the 4 is kind of a Joycean thing too, right? Like in Finnegan's Wake, there are these 4. It could be like the 4 evangelists, the 4 Zoas, the 4, in my mind, the Beatles or whatever, right?
Horsemen.
But then the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. But then there's like this overarching Christological figure, which I found somewhat distasteful, I'll have to say, as I read the complete work. So
that
the
Christological
deeper
figure
you
was
go,
one of mercy and compassion, right?
it was just too. It was like not as revolutionary, and I don't know, maybe I was expecting something more like Gnosticism, or maybe it is a kind of Gnosticism, but it's like you read that Simon Critchley book on mysticism, right? Remember all those Christian mystics, like those ladies that would flagellate themselves or get come down with some plague and then have visions of Jesus opening.
Some of them would have their erotic unions with Jesus and so on.
Exactly. So there was a whiff of that in Blake, which I didn't like. And more recently, the vision of Bernhardt is just more compelling. Like, I mean,
Correction is in terms of a book about obsession and madness and so on, is just untouchable. It's such a great
Correction. The old masters. That's probably my favorite. The Woodcutters.
Nephew, even if I didn't like it as much, was still very good.
Yeah. And then the Glenn Gould book.
That one. That's excellent. What is that one called? The Glenn Gould.
That's what I was trying to remember.
Oh, that's what.
I would say like the loser or something. The
loser.
The Untergeher or something like that. So Bernhardt.
Just in terms of the feeler, I'd say, like, wouldn't you say the loser is probably a good, if you're gonna crack open the Bernhardt, start with that one. It's about a pianist who seeks perfection, I think, and he's like obsessed with Glenn Gould. Was that the?
Did you repeat the name?
The Loser.
The Loser.
The name of the novel.
I thought you said the Loser, the Feeler, and I thought.
Oh no!
Thanks, buddy.
No! I do not. No, the feeler should read the book, The Loser.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, we got to get on with these battles, boys.
We gotta move a lot faster.
Well, I just wanted to say before we leave this, how did I discover Bernhardt? Through Bolaño. Remember that book of essays? There was an essay or two on Bernhardt, and he praised him to the skies, and it's like, oh, I gotta check this guy out. And then I think you and I read The Loser first, and then I
read that.
just grabbed everything that I could get my hands on.
Yeah.
And friend of the show, Carlos, is a big fan as well.
Yeah. All right, so Bernhard goes to the next round.
All right.
Okay, next up we've got Toni Morrison against, can you pronounce this for me, GJ? Viet Thanh Nguyen?
Viet Thanh Nguyen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, my.
Who starts? Does it matter who starts?
I'll start just
you go
because of Toni being first.
Why don't we start?
She was my
if
nomination.
you chose the writer, you start. How about that? You chose Toni.
So, first of all, I will just say, like, a little side note. I was watching some dude's tier list today of famous writers, and he was such a dick about Toni Morrison. And, like, I don't want to give, like, I didn't want to get triggered, but he's just like, oh, it's so overrated just because she's a black woman. And that, pissed me off. But anyways, I don't know how many Toni Morrison books I've read, and I read them in my early 20s, so it was about 20 years ago. But, yeah, I remember Song of Solomon being really powerful in particular. I guess I read The Bluest Eye as well, but I think, there was just like a really strong control of prose and an engaging storyline. I'm not going to sound very articulate, but I just remember it making a strong impression.
I mean, those
Have you read Toni Morrison?
Yeah, I did. Song of Solomon and Beloved are incredible. I mean, they're absolutely incredible books.
You teach, right?
I do teach, and I've taught both of those books.
Cool.
Song of Solomon once or twice, and Beloved several times. But yeah, absolutely devastating, beautiful books. The prose sings, the storylines are complex. She's great with multiple characters. So yeah, I mean, that black woman content, that's just a cuntish thing to say.
Yeah, agreed.
I think I've only read Beloved, but it's great. And I appreciated the Faulknerian qualities of her work, like whatever her personal feelings about William Faulkner, the man, may have been or not been. I don't really know. Clearly she's influenced by his style as a novelist, right? Like there's a
definitely
kind of
like
Faulknerian lyrical quality, and just the terrain that they cover is similar.
The Southern Gothic, even though Beloved is set in Ohio, yes, but I mean the Setha comes out of the South and so on, and the idea of the ghost, the haunting ghost who comes back, right? And the voices of the past, very like Faulkner. And it's definitely it's a Southern Gothic masterpiece too, right? I mean, it's not just that, but that's definitely. I taught it in a Southern Gothic course, right? So but have either of you read Viet Thanh Nguyen?
No, unfortunately.
Well, I've got the two books that you gave me last year.
Since you haven't,
I still haven't read them.
It's gonna be Morrison. I would say this is recency bias too, but for me, it would as great as she is, Viet Thanh Nguyen's The Sympathizer and then the follow-up, The Committed, are just, for me, compulsively readable books. Spy stories, historical fictions, compelling narrator, right? That's the second volume in Paris. The first volume is in Vietnam and the United States, but there's going to be a trilogy at some point because I think he foresees it as a trilogy, so I'll definitely be reading that. But I would have gone with Viet Thanh Nguyen just because I've read him most recently and tore through those.
But Mark, what are you going with?
Well, he can't go
Toni Morrison. I haven't read them yet, so
it's Morrison.
It's got to be Toni Morrison.
All right. So next matchup, we've got Zora Neale Hurston against Ovid. I love the unlikeliness of this. All right, I'll just give my pitch for Zora Neale Hurston. I don't know that much about her, but I taught Their Eyes Were Watching God, and it was amazing because I find myself getting slightly disappointed by a lot of books I read. It doesn't stop me from continuing to read, but maybe it's one of those things where things don't hit you like they used to. And when I read this, I guess I was around 30, and it was one of those books that kind of just reaffirmed my belief in literature. It was, I think I cried at one point, which is also rare. I'm not really a big crying person, especially with reading. So the dialect, the characters, the raw emotion and descriptions, they were just all so captivating. And That's the only book I've read by her, but that book was a wow moment.
I mean, you can make the argument like a single masterpiece is all it takes, right? When you have a book
Yeah.
that's profound. So
have you've read Their Eyes Are Watching God?
Yeah.
Do you teach that? Is that on some kind of canon for you?
I haven't taught it in a long time. Yeah.
Okay. Did you like it?
I love it. I think it's a fantastic book. It's an amazing book.
Yeah.
But I'll let Mark put in Ovid, or Ovid, I should say. So
well, first I want to know if you've read Zora Neale Hurston at all.
I haven't. No.
Okay.
But sounds like I need to.
You should read that book, definitely.
I mean, talking about like
she's Harlem Renaissance as well, just for some more.
Yes, well, and somewhat related. We're talking about authors who are known for one masterpiece. There's Ralph Ellison's The Invisible Man.
Book.
Yeah,
amazing book.
Exactly.
Which right, inspired Viet Thanh Nguyen, right? The Sympathizer. The opening paragraph is a direct nod to The Invisible Man. Right? Our narrator is basically another torn.
Interesting.
Creature, right?
All right, well, let me make the case for Ovid. I mean, of the Roman poets, he's probably my favorite, especially because of the Metamorphoses, but also his erotic poetry, the Amores. Those are some great lyrics. But then also the Art of Love is a masterpiece. But the Metamorphoses is, if you read that book, basically you have all of Greco-Roman mythology in one volume. Even though his theme is just transformation, he still manages to warehouse all of the important Greco-Roman myths, I would say. And he always tells his mythological tales with humor and, a kind of alchemical magic almost. There's almost a magic realism quality, like if there were such a thing in ancient Rome.
And so here's the thing: like, this is interesting. Some of these rounds when you haven't read as much, if at all, of another author, right? So I have read selections of Metamorphosis, but haven't read the whole thing, right? And for that reason alone, right? I'm going to go with Zora Neale Hurston because Their Eyes Are Watching God is a superlative, beautiful book. I love the story of Janie and her sexual awakening and her journey, and the language and dialect, as you mentioned, right? It is a unique achievement. Also, I haven't read more than an essay or two, but she was also a renowned basically anthropologist, right? Of the Black South and the Caribbean and so on.
Yeah,
so
the way that she managed, the way she wrote that book, right?
Non-fictional works, right, where she goes, and so she's certainly known for that as well.
Yeah, and I think that was key in her writing that book.
Collecting stories, ethnography, right, that kind of stuff.
Right.
And here's one of the benefits of this exercise, this tournament that we're engaged in. We can form a new reading list, right? I've just that's been on my list for a while. It's pretty ridiculous that I never read it, but I just never got around to it, right?
Yeah, it's pretty fast.
Nice.
Right? I mean, you can probably read it. It's not that long either way. Like, it's not a long novel by any means. So, all right,
back to the wheel. Right, we've got
Ovid is out.
Well, William Blake is out. That's insane to me. I mean, this is like he could be the greatest British writer ever.
Who else is out? Let's see: Vargas Llosa, Blake.
Ovid.
Your boy Viet Thanh Nguyen.
Yep. All right.
All right. So
I got about half an hour.
Okay.
Just so y'all know.
Okay.
This is going to be a 4-episode.
So whoever just doesn't come up, your other guy, that's going to be homework.
Oh wait,
right?
So we got through 8 already, huh?
Yeah. All right. So
Calasso. I know Mark and I will be speaking up for him, but who's he
Let's
facing?
see.
You guys should say like a couple basic things, like when the name comes up, like
Marriage of Cadmus and Harmony.
This guy is blah blah blah, and he's representing
so many good books.
The book of all
books. Andre Benjamin.
At least I get to talk about him for a second. So even if he dies a quick death. Anyway, he retired anyway, became a flute player. So I think he will gracefully
Let's see.
He'll go gracefully into.
Kafka. Or is it Kerouac? Kafka. So Kafka versus
You guys got to say something about Kafka now. The Czech writer,
Metamorphosis, the
Speaking
trial,
of
the castle, the
Metamorphosis.
parables. Oh shit, this is going to be a tough one.
Against-
Oscar Wilde. Ooh, I don't know about that. And then the last matchup.
I know how I'm voting.
No, this is the third matchup.
You're right. That's going to be a good one. Papa Hemingway. Old Man in the Sea.
Fuck that book. Fucking hate that book. I don't mind Hemingway, but that's like that book just I had a bad experience teaching it.
Let's see. An American heavyweight round.
Ooh.
An American heavyweight round. All right.
We didn't say who it was. Arthur Miller, for
Arthur
those just
Miller.
listening. Yeah.
Let's see. The next one is going to be Thomas Mann. He's
No,
still
he
on the
fucked
list.
that up. He's not
So
even on the
that's-
list.
Just
That's
take him off
Homer.
and spin it again. Is
Homer.
that Homer?
Well, no, because who didn't we?
Bernhard.
Mon came up before, though, is the point.
Yes, and we replaced him
And
with
so I just
Bernhard.
forgot to remove him. That's the point.
Oh,
Just spin
So,
again.
yeah.
all right.
Just spin again, yeah.
Is Homer even on here?
He may not be, but he'll replace whoever else
Whoever
I
needs
fucked up
replacing.
with.
Okay.
Virginia Woolf.
Okay.
All right, she will face to the lighthouse.
Are you adding the sound effects, Mark, or is my wheel?
The wheel is.
I think
Your
right?
wheel. I'm not.
But
I'm
the
not.
screaming?
Oh,
the screaming?
shit!
No,
No,
I'm
it
not
can't
doing
be.
that.
Oh.
Proust. Oh, two modernists. We got an American heavyweight battle, a modernist heavyweight battle. All right.
All right. Let me stop sharing here. And so we're into round 2. I'll review the matchups very quickly. In the first round matchup, we've got Roberto Calasso against Andre Benjamin. In the second, Kafka versus Oscar Wilde. In the third, Hemingway versus Arthur Miller, and Virginia Woolf versus Marcel Proust.
These are
So
some good
let's start
matchups. Three of them
with
at least.
Calasso, gentlemen.
Well,
Colosso versus.
I'll
Versus
speak up
who?
for Andre. Andre
all right,
3 stacks.
Calasso,
Andre
first of
3000.
all, his book, The Marriage of Cadmus and Harmony, is one I've read probably 4 or 5 times, and I just go back to it. And it's not like I'm a particular... Before I read that book, sure, I liked Greek mythology, right? But it wasn't one of these things, some people grow up, I love Greek mythology, or I love this, or I love that. That was never my thing. But The Marriage of Cadmus and Harmony, the way that he retells the Greek myths, and he blends his erudition into the storytelling in such a seamless fashion that it never has what Joyce would call that the academic stink. I think I might be paraphrasing, right? It's just magisterial storytelling and profound understanding of these myths, and it's just compelling read. He also did Ka, which is his where he tackles the Indian myths. He has another book on the Indian myths, which I haven't yet read, right? But I've got a copy of it. Literature and the Gods, but all of what he does with his nonfiction. He's got a book on Kafka, a book on Baudelaire. Mark and I recently read those. He is just
The
a
book of all
polymath.
books.
He is a polymath who has read everything and then translates it back in just such a compelling way. Anyway, Mark will write. Take it away. What would you say about Calasso?
Well, I was just going to point out who's his primary source in The Marriage of Cadmus and Harmony. That would be Ovid. One, I mean,
One
maybe
of
not
many.
the
'Cause his sources
primary,
are varied.
not
He
the
has some-
primary source. Yeah, but Ovid. That's another thing I forgot to mention. Ovid is maybe our most important source for Cadmus, and I've already pointed out how Cadmus and Harmony have
Are
been
archetypal
so
figures for you.
for me, yeah, and it's due to that book, and then having explored them, more deeply in the original source of Colosso's book, Ovid, or one of the original sources, one of the most important sources. There are other sources for Cadmus, of course, in antiquity, but Ovid is, Ovid really gets into the family history. So, yeah, what else about Colosso? The book of all books, which I read last year, and I've, encouraged you to read. I think I'm supposed to send that to you for Christmas, but I sent some other books instead. But that's his study of the Old Testament, not so much the new.
Every book I've read I'm glad I've read. I'm going to read more of his. He is a sort of canon unto himself, basically. So But let's hear about Andre Benjamin. Let's make the case.
Sure. So, it's clear that this is just the a farewell speech for
Consolation
Andre.
prize.
But he
I'm
made
glad
it
you
this
included
far.
him.
Yeah. So I have two rappers on our list. I listen to a lot of rap music. It's been massive influence on my life. Also in terms of just language and rhythm and rhyme. And for many fans of rap, Andre is their favorite rapper. So he's the...
More than his counterpart?
You mean Big Boy?
Big Boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody's got Big Boy
Nobody's
as
got
their
Big Boy.
goat.
Yeah.
Although, Big Boy has his place, but it's like Tribe Called Quest. I mean, Q-Tip is definitely the dominant voice, or Public Enemy with Chuck D. I mean, you're gonna... but Andre is just a unique
What about
soul.
Flava Flav?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, nobody's. Anyway, so Andre, very just incredible verses that stick with me, are very quotable.
Yeah,
Softly, as if I play piano in the dark, find a way to channel my anger.
Enjoyed Outkast when they completely blew up on the scene and so on. But since you know him way better than we do, if you were to give us one album, that we should definitely listen to and spend time with, whether it's him in Outkast or on his own, what would you say we should do?
I would say Aquemini.
Is that what is that?
It just comes just before Stankonia, after ATLiens.
Is that solo? Or is that
no? It's an Outkast album. Aquemini, I guess it's like a combination of their two horoscope signs, so like Aquarius,
Gemini.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
And some epic verses there, and you really get a feel for hot nights in Atlanta.
How do you spell that? How do you spell the album title?
AQUA. Wait, no, AQUE. Sorry,
okay. Aquemini.
Yeah.
MINI.
Okay, got it. All right.
That's why in Russia we called ourselves Scorpimini. You're Scorpio, I'm Gemini.
So I've got.
You don't remember that?
I've got to do the entire metamorphosis, and I've got Aquemini, which I'll visit soon. All right, let's keep going.
All right, so
Calasso goes on. He knocks him out.
He does. I don't know why I circled him.
Wait, I didn't vote.
Okay.
Presumptions on my part.
Kafka versus Wilds.
Oh shit!
Making the case for Kafka first is. Who has Kafka on their list?
I am on the fence right now. I want to hear from you two because I'm on the fucking fence on these.
I'm going Kafka.
I'm going Wilds.
Okay.
So, go ahead. Go ahead.
This is interesting. Well, I mean, for me personally, Kafka has been more influential, even though my counterpart, my sometime co-author GJ Villa, and I are working on a book called Wild's Day, which is the second volume of our series of novelettes, and the focus is Oscar Wilde and his work. So obviously it's important, to me. But overall, I think Kafka has been more influential. His vision is more in line, or I guess you could say aligned with my own. I think maybe that Kafka has a sense of modern anxiety and dread that Wilde wasn't around to experience. And so that there's something that maybe those of us living in this dystopian age feel a disconnect with Wilde over.
You're saying in some way like we live more in their Kafkaesque elements.
Our world is more
those
Kafkaesque
in our world than perhaps Wildian.
I would just say there are wilds in modern society, though. It's just I would say it's more of like a hedonistic, flamboyant approach to life.
Oh, for sure, an insouciance. The brilliance.
But which
of the
wild?
epigram,
What about the wild, the socialist wild? Like the kind of almost Catholic wild, the wild of De Profundis. That's totally different from the decadent,
Well, that's why
100%.
It's going to be very hard for me because Wilde has so many different manifestations, and Wilde is also a figure who transcends his art and becomes a kind of iconic figure of the times in the late 19th century. The sort of decadent era, and just the first,
so does
in some
Kafka,
ways,
though.
celebrity and all. Yes, as well. That's why I am right there. But The Feeler, why don't you tell us about Wild? For you, it's Wild because...
Well, just because I'm more familiar. Like, I read The Metamorphosis and enjoyed it, and I attempted to read The Castle, but I think I gave up, which, shame. I would like to be exposed to more Kafka. I think
The Trial. What about The Trial? The Trial.
I know of it, but I haven't read it. What are his most well-known short stories?
I will recommend to you that The Trial is far greater than The Castle in terms of compelling, tautness and storyline. And I love The Trial is just a perfect book and the most unusual book. And there's moments of weird humor. And by contrast, The Castle, which I read afterwards, was so excited to read. I also found it a little alienating. It was good in some ways, but it just meandered more. And so I would argue that The Trial is a better one to sink your teeth into.
I mean, it's a huge gap that I'd like to... I mean, obviously Kafka has this, like, everything's called Kafka-esque now too, right? So that's like... Notice that's a sign of his influence.
Colasso, in his book on Kafka, called K, the book is called, I mean, he makes a compelling case, which I agree with, that there are two sides of the same experience. Joseph K in The Trial is kind of in the next stage or iteration. Maybe it's the afterlife or the Bardo in The Castle, or he's going towards the castle and enmeshed in all the bureaucracy and so on. But The Trial is just a fantastic work. And so, this is...
I agree that The Trial is a greater work than The Castle, but I think The Castle is also great, and that may be because there's more of a Taiwanese vibe, like the Taiwanese dystopia, Taiwanese version, or maybe even the Asian version of dystopia that I've experienced. It's maybe more aligned with that which is depicted in The Castle, but as a literary work, I agree that The Trial is superior.
I would also argue if you want to read more Kafka, read some of the short stories, like there's just so many beyond the Metamorphosis that are just absolutely excellent.
I know some must have been in some collections.
The Hunger Artist in the Penal Colony, Josephine the singer. There's just so many strange, weird little parable, like almost just bizarre dreams from the Kafkan universe, right? So those are amazing. The collected short stories, which I've read, and they have the shorter works, which are like 3-page parable-like things. Those are incredibly strange and unique. But tell us about Wild. What do you like about Wild?
No. I mean, Mark and I did a podcast on De Profundis, so
I
it's
heard
just
that.
more...
That's right. I contributed to it at the beginning, yeah.
Yeah, that was a really exciting read. And I think then I watched... Which film did we watch? Did we both watch a film about it?
The Stephen Fry.
Yeah, I think I just found...
I've seen that. And
I think just the way that his life ends is so intriguing. Just that he's, just a nobody living in the streets of Paris. And
so for me, Wilde as the writer, of course, the importance of being earnest is great. And Portrait of Dorian Gray is a gem.
Absolutely.
Of a book.
Amazing.
Obviously. But in terms of the writing, what the older I've gotten, for me, De Profundis, I'm really glad y'all did that podcast on that, because that to me is Wilde at his most moving, right? In his letters to that little ship, Bosie, and so on. But so as Mark was saying, he goes through all these different, and he was very conscious of that as well. That with Wilde, even with the authentic Wilde, there's a performance happening, right? And I love the way he blurred the line between performativity and authenticity, and his paradox. I'm really torn. I don't know which way to go here. Fuck it.
You're the decider.
Well, you can be the decider, Mark.
No, I'm Kafka.
So we got Kafka. We got Wilde. Damn, man, we got to move on. Fuck it, Wilde. Even though the better works that I'll probably revisit and read are Kafka, but Wilde, just in terms of a sentiment, I'm going with my feelings, like the feeler, intuition.
There you go.
Interesting.
All right. Next up,
that's a major upset, man. Kafka gone in the first round.
Is it too late to go back? Because I'm so on the goddamn fence right here.
No, man, it's over.
All right, Wild. I threw out Kafka. That's what I just did. I threw Kafka out of the mix. All right.
You threw Kafka on the shore.
Oh, well, here's another big heavyweight battle. Who is it?
All right, we've got Hemingway and Arthur Miller. So, Mark, defend Ernest.
Hemingway.
The importance of being earnest. Sorry.
Yeah,
Forgot.
Hemingway. I mean, you guys are trashing him. I don't understand
I'm not
why.
trashing him. I just don't like the Old
I
Man
mean,
of the Sea.
Okay, well, I do. I think that's an excellent late work. I don't think it's
What's the best Hemingway in your opinion?
the best. Well, maybe I like him best for his short stories, of
Okay.
which I had the complete short stories at one time, and they influenced me tremendously and profoundly. But as far as the novels go, I've always liked To Have and Have Not. It's not one of his better
That's a good
known.
book. That's a good book.
It's really interesting though. Of course, there's Farewell to Arms. What else are we
For me, I'll
going
make
to
the
mention
case
in this
for obviously For Whom
conversation?
the Bell Tolls, which I think is probably his. I
That's
think he
one of his
considered it
least.
his masterpiece, and it's great.
I-
but I'll
I-
always
I-
have a. Go ahead.
No, that's one of my least favorite of his.
Really?
So yeah.
For me, my favorite Hemingway is The Sun Also Rises. That's a fantastic. That's his
Yes,
first novel.
yes,
It's
right.
a great story. The Lost Generation, Jake and his physical and sort of spiritual impotence, and so on. But the classic, Hemingway clean prose, the bullfighting in Spain. Those are some of the best passages, right? When they move on to Spain, I love that. So, Old Man of the Sea is not what I think about when I think about Hemingway, but Sun Also Rises is for me my favorite of his works.
What about
Why-
the Garden
why
of
do-
Eden?
Yes, I was gonna say, Via doesn't like that.
Yeah,
I remember he read it.
that's where he had
I think
the,
it's the only
years
book
ago.
I read. Like
it's
all the
It
way
was
through.
published posthumously, and it's fragmentary. I liked it, but
I
yeah,
enjoyed
it's
it a
not
lot.
his
That's
not
the woman
his
as the sort of
greatest
bitch
work.
goddess, I think, right? Is that what he? But I remember I liked what he was trying to do. He just didn't. I don't remember it well enough. But the
But
thing is
wait-
for me with. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I just want to know why the disdain for the Old Man in the Sea. Like, explain that to me.
I think it's okay. I mean, it's fine.
I have trauma from trying to teach it, and like getting bogged down by all these nautical terms, and especially when I'm working with language learners, I just really am desperate for lots of dialogue and kind of punch, and so it was a struggle, and I felt guilty, because it was like my choice, and I ordered the damn books. But anyway,
See, for me, I'm Hemingway versus Arthur Miller. Neither of them would have made my list. Period. I think The Crucible is a fantastic classic.
Crucible's
American play.
amazing. Death of a Salesman.
Yeah, exactly. Sounds like it's coming in choppy again. Talk again for a second.
Hello.
How does my voice sound?
You sound
It's
okay.
fine on my
Yeah.
end.
Okay, so on your end it's fine. On my end, I'm hearing it a little bit scratchy again, but whatever. I'll just go with Hemingway because of The Sun Also Rises, but it's almost 6 of one, half dozen of another for me.
Yeah, and,
Well,
and
I'm
Miller was
gonna
not one of
say-
my top selections, so I'm not particularly.
I'm
miffed.
going to say Hemingway is more influential on all of us than we realize. Like the influence he had on prose writing, let's say, I think is incalculable. We were talking about Camus earlier. There wouldn't be Camus without Hemingway, right? Like the style of The Stranger was influenced by that terse Hemingway-esque style. Now there's Echo.
Do you
on
like
my
Arthur
end, too.
Miller,
I
Mark?
mean,
Yeah. No, I do. The Crucible, yes. Death of a
Is he
Salesman,
our only
yes.
playwright? I think
No,
he
Tennessee
may be.
Williams.
No, I mean on our list.
Oh, well,
Just saying.
Tennessee
I'm
it's
biased,
interesting
I'm
that-
biased towards novelists. There's no doubt about it.
Sure.
So for me, there's the clear bias.
Sure.
Tennessee
fair.
Williams was on one of my earlier drafts of the
But
list.
Mark, I think you make a good point, and I think that's absolutely pretty irrefutable that his influence on modern, literary prose was, far-reaching, right? I mean, even a writer like Cormac McCarthy, who obviously, he's an heir to Faulkner in some ways, also can do the Hemingway terseness and clarity of just language, right? The transparency of the prose. So yes, hats off to old Papa. I don't think he could write women worth a lick. and that's a legitimate criticism. And sometimes maybe some of the macho stuff he's exploring is a bit tedious, but he's definitely.
I think that stereotype is not completely baseless, but it's certainly overblown, right? Like the female character in To Have and Have Not is really interesting. I don't know if you remember, but
I just wonder if, like, how many women would have Hemingway in their top, 20, 21 picks, right? And by women, I mean women who read literature the way that we do.
I think
I
think he's influenced some, female short story writers. I wouldn't be surprised if I wouldn't be surprised if Alice Munro put him on her list.
Yeah, maybe. Anyway.
All right, let's move on.
Let's move on. Hemingway wins. The old man, Papa Hemingway, goes on through. There he goes.
Also, don't discount the influence of Hemingway on Bukowski. There wouldn't be a Bukowski without Hemingway either.
Yeah, well, there you go.
I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but yeah.
I guess.
It's
All right, now we have a modernist fucking heavyweight battle here, right? It's Proust and Wolf, right?
Is this displayed somewhere? I don't see it anywhere.
No, it's just in my notebook.
I just remembered that the fourth and final one of this round. We're probably gonna have to stop after this, unfortunately, but it's Proust and Wolf.
So it's Proust.
You choose Proust.
Proust for me, because I think I've only attempted to read Virginia Woolf, and sorry.
That's all right.
Well, Virginia Woolf, I mean, To the Lighthouse is brilliant. I love her. The first thing I read by her, and the thing I appreciate the most, is her short piece, The Mark on the Wall. This is like an anthologized, it's in one of those Norton anthologies, and I read it in an undergraduate lit course. It wasn't assigned, but I would just like read other selections, that I was interested in. That was something completely new to me. I don't know if either of you have read that, but
I've not read that, no.
It's not necessarily Joycean stream of consciousness stylistically, but the narrative is basically just following her stream of consciousness in the most fascinating way, and then there's kind of a surprise ending. It's kind of a Shaggy Dog story, but just brilliant. To the Lighthouse. Have I read Ms. Dalloway? I think so.
I only read Waves, and it was a struggle.
Waves is one of our more experimental ones.
See,
I would recommend.
It fucked me up.
For me, of these two, I read Swan's Way, which is undeniably gorgeous and sumptuous. But somehow, at the end, I'd had my fill of Proust. Like, I didn't want to continue reading the rest. Mark the completionist.
Yes, I remember.
You were almost offended. Like, how could you not do this? I'm like, I've had my fill. It was great. Don't know if I'll revisit it. It was an incredible experience, but I think I'm done. And again, that's enough, right? One magisterial novel, but for me, it's Wolf because of Miss Dalloway. I love that book so much. One Day in the Life of Clarissa Dalloway, post World War One. You're in her consciousness for a while. There's Septimus, the war veteran who's come home, who's mad and schizophrenic and hallucinating, and just the generosity of spirit in that book. She's just it's like one of those, modernist things. Let's tell a story in a day. It comes out of, I think, the same year, very close to Ulysses, right? Mm-hmm. And she rather churlishly dismissed Ulysses, right? And, sort of class snubbed Joyce, right? But regardless, to me, Miss Dalloway is just a beautiful, perfect book. So when I think about Miss Dalloway and Swan's Way, Miss Dalloway, I'm going to revisit. I have revisited it, and I love that book. Swan's Way, so glad I read it. I don't think I'm going to do more Proust, though.
That's
my
interesting.
Shout out for
I think Virginia Woolf herself highly praised. You're saying she dissed Joyce, but she publicly praised Proust. And
I vaguely remember that as well.
Which is in contrast to Aldous Huxley's view, right? He said Proust is a hermaphrodite spooning himself in his own juices or something. Spooning himself with his own juices or something like that. Really hilarious. It's Proust for me. I mean, I can't remember if I read Ms. Dalloway. I think I did. To the Lighthouse was more influential on me, and that was
That's great too.
fantastic. That was
Yeah.
a great book.
It is a great book.
But I've read all of Proust, like the complete.
In Search of Lost Time.
Yeah, so Proust for me, and I assume the Feeler as well.
Yeah, I think I read the first 3 books in Search of Lost Time with you, Mark, and it was an amazing experience. One of the most profound, and inspiring, and makes you feel like, whoa, this is a reason to be alive kind of book.
Why did you quit?
I don't know. Just life happens.
No, you gotta keep going, man. You gotta read the Prisoner.
But I mean, partly if the Feelers read 3 and each volume is whatever. I remember Swan's Way was whatever 500 pages. Perhaps
even more. These are like
Perhaps after 1,500 plus pages of Proust, one has had enough, right?
I don't. I don't read at the same rate as Mark does. I don't have that much free time either for reading. So it's not about not wanting to read more.
Well, Mark is a fucking machine, and he always has been when it comes to like completionist tendencies. I've always envied him that. That's fantastic. But I see myself a little bit more of a dilettante. I'll kind of hop, but Mark will latch onto something and they'll read every fucking thing, right? So, with Faulkner, I've read 5 of his books and amazing. Mark's read them all, right?
Well, not quite.
Oh, really? I thought you read all his novels.
I think there are a couple that I haven't gotten to. Yeah, I mean,
let's just say you don't do things half measures. So,
well, I try not to. I feel like I should, if it's worth, Bernhardt, for instance, if he's an author that I'm interested in, I'm gonna read everything he's written.
Right. So, gentlemen, I'm gonna have to go pretty soon. Maybe we got through what 2 we got
brackets.
Through 16 rounds. Is that right?
Should we stop it there?
Or
we got through 8 rounds, 8 of the 32. So we've done 1/4 of the first section.
Yeah. Well,
maybe
next
time we
end
go
it there.
We'll
Liliana says hello from Russia.
Hi.
Yeah. Should we recap what action just went down in this installment?
Yeah, are you taking notes over there, Feeler, or what?
Yeah, I mean, I have the matchups in my sketched out here. So,
all right,
yeah, maybe summing up
just give us a recap.
The recap.
Okay, so in our first matchup, we had Camus defeating Yosa. Make it sound like it's Japanese or Spanish.
That's right.
In the second, Thomas Bernhardt edged out William Blake. Toni Morrison took out Viet Thanh Nguyen in the third. And Zora Neale Hurston outclassed Ovid.
Kicked Ovid's ass.
You guys, I'll go to you each time I need like an active verb, okay? So you guys have to be ready and I'll alternate for verbs.
All right.
In the next matchup, we had Robert Colasso GJ. Destroying Andre Benjamin. Poor Andre. Then we had Oscar Wilde, Mark.
He raped
Franz Kafka.
He raped Kafka.
Then we had Ernest Hemingway, GJ.
He
eviscerating Arthur Miller. And finally, Marcel Proust, Mark.
He performed surgery on Virginia Woolf.
So
he surgically incised her innards.
Breasts.
Yeah.
All right, take over.
So, we didn't make a lot of progress, but it was that's fine. The conversation was interesting, at least to me. I've got a new book on my list. I'm going to get some Zora Neale Hurston, and as I said, I think like the discussions and our rationalizations for our choices, sometimes we ourselves don't know why we're picking whoever it is we're picking, and it's difficult choice. Like, these are all interesting questions. What makes a great writer? Is it the influence he or she has had on us personally, or is it some contribution to the wider culture? A lot of my choices, I felt like of these 64, 21, I was trying to fill in like gaps related to antiquity and also multicultural concerns, maybe, right? Like I wanted to. I regret that there's no in our list of 64. There's no great Arab writer. There's not like
African.
Scheherazade. There's not like
there's not enough women. We can own that.
yeah, right. And that's so that's also a lack. But the gaps I was trying to fill in were like classic, mostly Greek and Roman authors, but also I tried to include like my favorite Japanese writer, of course, is Mishima, and so he's on there. But like I thought about Mahfuz, the Egyptian. I thought about him.
I thought
maybe
about
having
him as
a
well.
place.
He's the guy with the trilogy.
Well, I don't know if
Who's
he,
the
he
Nobel
probably
guy who
did.
wrote the Palace
Yeah,
trilogy?
Yes, I think that's right. He did. He probably did. He wrote a lot of books. He was like
that's
the
Mahfouz. Yeah, I consider him.
Egyptian Balzac. He wrote a lot, and then he was basically killed by the fanatics. He got knifed.
Yeah.
By some Islamic fundamentalist or whatever. But Medoc Ali, that's a fantastic.
That's
book.
the first in the trilogy, isn't it?
Okay, maybe it is.
It's a standalone.
And then I read his Akhenaten, so he like explored Egyptian history as well.
I read the Journey of Ibn Fatuma. That was good. And Medoc Ali, but that's all I've read by him.
Medoc Ali, yeah, it's great. Yeah, so I don't know anything else you guys want to add. It's 2:30.
The only agonizing round was Kafka and Wilde, and I could have gone either way there, right? So that's one of those things you feel like should be a quarterfinal match or something like that. I'm thinking about a bracket where these should ideally meet, but every once in a while you have two in the early round and one has to go. So last second I just went with my gut and it was wild. So
yeah,
there you go. Kafka's out.
Bye.
All right, guys, I got to sign off myself, but thanks for having me.
Pleasure.
We'll figure out another date to get through this, and maybe
in
a year we'll have this all. It will go faster than that, I kid, but we'll get it all done.
Why is it taking so long? This didn't happen?
Well, we did begin by reading the 64, right? That took a chunk of time,
and some technical difficulties as well.
Well, right. but I'm cutting out like the first 30 minutes. It was still 2 hours, and we didn't even
because you guys like to rhapsodize about this stuff, which is fine.
So you're blaming us. I see. I can
go faster. We can just.
So we didn't do that with the music. I thought we did. Maybe not.
Maybe what we do is we try to in the next round, the next few, like get through them faster, and then when we get to like the quarterfinals, we'll be able to take a little bit more time.
Yeah, so and I think particularly if we know where the vote's going to go, then you can like keep that punchy and save the more contentious.
What about this? Like we just do the vote, and then like if yours was voted off, you just have to say you've got 10 sentences max.
Yeah, that's an interesting way to do it.
Be terse, be to the point, and then we move.
Yeah,
just read the AI slop and be done with it.
Exactly, just read the AI slop. All right, guys, all right. I gotta head out, but love to you both. We'll do it again soon.
Stay black, stay free.
Alrighty, later.
This has been season 4, episode 10, part 1 of the Textually Deviant Literary Battle Royale, a.k.a. the Write-Off, WRITE. I'm Mark Will Wright in Taipei. I was joined by...
The Feeler. Feeling things.
In Moscow. And
I'm not in Moscow, bro.
In St. Petersburg.
Thank you.
And... and we were joined by our special guest, GJ Villa, at some undisclosed location
in Raleigh, North Carolina.
In Trumplandia. Okay. No, that was in take 1. I don't think he said that in take 2. I really don't know. We're all over the place.
Are we going anywhere with the next pod? Because I have an idea if you don't. But
what do you
this
mean?
Is technically my choice. I mean, because if we don't have time to schedule with GJ for just continuing this, if we want to get a pod in somewhere in the middle, I have like an idea for
what, an emergency broadcast?
No, just a pod.
Well, I think I don't want to interrupt it. Let's finish this first, one way or another.
Okay.
So we'll reschedule with him. Maybe we can make it go faster, but I don't really care. I like the way we did this, even though it took long. Too long, right? We have one person left in the chat. Hello. And thanks for
It's probably Liliana
Thanks for
who's
your
just next in the other room.
patience. Yeah, there you go. All right, well, it's almost 3 a.m. here, so I'm going to sign off as
All right,
well.
bro. Have
All
a
right.
nice evening. Yep.
Farewell,
Cheers.
everyone.
Peace.
Texting.